Dugan with Zoom into Books. I am at the American Library Association's annual conference in Chicago, and we are in the podcast pavilion here, the sound booth, and I'm sitting with author Len McBride. It's really good to have you with us today. You enjoying the conference?
Thank you. Yes, pleasure to be here. First time here.
Okay, it's fun to meet all the authors and kind of hang out with all the publishing and librarians and just a lot of excitement about words. And I want to talk about some words you've written.
All right. Be glad to.
Yes, I'm glad you're on the Zoom into Books podcast today. So tell me kind of what got you started into, first, the title of your book, I guess. We need to start with that.
Okay.
Your book is?
America's Harvest.
America's Harvest is a novel. I love the cover here. It's a very
I thought they did a great job with it.
Yes. So what brought this about for you? What was it? That isn't something you just wake up one morning and do.
No, it wasn't waking up and doing it, but I spent 35 years with the U.S. Department of Agriculture in North Carolina, and we were a grassroots agency that dealt with the farmers on a first-hand basis. And I started out measuring cotton and grain bins and worked my way on through management till I retired as state director. So when I retired, I got to thinking, I said, you know, I met so many amazing people and got so many stories that have happened to me throughout all this. And, you know, I measure so many grain bins and have such easy access to farms that no one really took it for granted.
Okay.
As long as I did my job, the farmers got paid, you know, I was right in their grain bin with everything. And so I got to thinking and I said, I'm going to introduce an international and domestic terrorist attack on our food supply through the grain bin.
Okay, and I hope that aspiring writers are listening. It's really cool that you can, what you know is what you write about. You brought in something very unique with this, with your background.
And I think if you reading the book, you'll see how realistically that happened.
Yes, yeah, because nobody can write it like somebody that's been in, you know, in those by the grain bins and counting the beans and all that. So tell me kind of how you came up with your story like that.
Well, just expand a little bit more on what I talked about, and I did some research, and I said, well, you know, what is one poison that nobody's really ever heard of that could cause such dramatic effects?
Yeah. So
I came up with the amatoxin out of the mushroom. Okay. And I was recruited by a terrorist organization that I never knew anything about, and they threatened my girlfriend. And anyway, it went into introducing that into the grain supply.
Okay, when you say you are the protagonist in the book. It's written.
It's pretty much, I'm kind of playing it as myself. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And then it was introduced into the grain bin, and then all of a sudden it started showing up, and anything that it was wheat is what I was targeting. That was the first crop harvested. Okay. And you know, it was showing up in anything from tacos in Mexico to biscuits in Georgia to craft beers in Asheville and Wilmington. And then it took a dark turn.
I'm just thinking it really, you know, we've certainly had our share of grocery store incidents, etc. Where you know there's a product that has an issue, and you find a thread that small and weave it through everything wheat. I mean, it's a great for so many different
exactly. You know, I kind of thought a lot of the Tylenol scare back in the 70s, I guess, and this is so much widespread because it's introduced into the mainstream of wheat.
Yes. And
what all wheat, you know, compromises.
Right.
And then it has the political aspect as we get farther into the book.
Okay, boy, it sounds alarming, actually.
Well,
I'm glad it's a book, not a scenario in the news. So what did you find was kind of the hardest thing as you were writing, the process of writing it?
Well, it's kind of, I don't mean this bad, but, you know, I just, every book's got to have a little sex in it to kind of keep it, you know. And I've got two daughters that are 30 and 26, and so I tried to keep it as clean as I could, if that makes sense.
But still in that realistic vein.
Yes, to let you know that there is a relationship going on, but it's, you know, it's not anything that I wasn't ashamed of them to read.
Right. Well, I do think people need to be able to relate to the story, and you can't if you have a child, you're not going to throw a stork in there, right?
Exactly. And I just had my first grandchild 3 months ago.
Okay.
So, and I knew that was coming, or she was coming. So that was a little bit of a challenge.
Delicate dance, but I think that with all kinds of content, authors kind of struggle with that sometimes, right? You want to present it in a true vein,
right?
But you also want to maybe be respectful of, if it were in real life,
It's not letters to the penthouse is exactly what I was going to avoid.
But it fits with what you were comfortable with and the readable.
Right.
So the time frame, when is it set like different times or?
It takes me back to when I first started with the agency, when I was measuring grain bins and on the farm.
Okay.
And right out of college after playing baseball, and it all occurs in eastern North Carolina.
All right. So when would this have been? Like what decades are we talking here?
It takes me back to my time for the experience, but it's in modern time today.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to really explain.
That's
this
all
being
right.
my first book.
That's all right. It sounds very interesting. So are you going to stay on this? Is this something you want to repeat? Are you going to write more books?
I'm already into my sequel.
Okay. How far along? How's that process gone for you compared to this one?
Well, with the grandbaby coming and then me getting into the publishing and all with this book, I've kind of put it to the back burner. I'm probably going to pick it back up in November.
Okay.
And maybe go to a destination place and write for a while.
Focus, yes. But do you find, I think for so many that are, and I'm an author as well, but the writing process goes on sometimes even when you're not actually putting the points on the page, right? Because you're taking things in.
I've got side notes everywhere. I'll watch a baseball game or something will click and I'll have that written, and then I'll take it and maybe sit down one morning and then put it all together on a bigger piece of paper and try to organize my thoughts as where I was with how I wanted that delivered.
Nothing is wasted.
Yeah. Oh, no.
So tell me, when anybody watching or listening, how can they get a hold of you? How can they get a hold of your books?
Well, you can go to lenmcbride.com, and there's the website, which takes you to a direct link to Amazon.
Okay.
And then it's purchased on Amazon, and Barnes & Noble also has it on website.
Okay.
And just order it there.
All right. Are you on social media? Can people
my daughter is works in Washington, D.C., and she set me up a Twitter account.
Okay.
And we hadn't really gotten much into that yet, but she's going to be working with me more on social media.
Okay, so stay posted.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear that's the big way to go, and we're kind of looking to explore that.
All righty. Well, Len, thank you so much for talking to me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Been talking to Len McBride, author of America's Harvest, a novel you should pick up and check out. And we are at the American Library Association, the annual conference in Chicago. Zoom into books in the Sound Pavilion. Thank you.
Thank you.